start a new block of the month with woolwork. Each month you are going to get a kit. Right now this one is the April one that I thought I would show you. If you look here, this one is the September kit. This would be the October kit, the November, December, and then January I've got going here. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to show you kind of how to get going, what is the best kind of tools to use, how to trace, what different things like that that will help you along with this project. Woolwork is very forgiving. It's just fun. It is a very relaxing thing that you can do, a craft that you can do watching TV, taking it with you, putting it in a bag and hauling it to the doctors, because once you get it all traced and cut out and fused, it's portable. So when you're first starting out, you're going to have to find something that you fuse on the back of your wool pieces. And I have found these three here, I have used soft fuse. We have this in a 3 sheet roll. I think it's 36 by 18 each sheet is, which should pretty well do you for most of what you're doing. It's a real soft, pliable fusible. And so we're going to kind of talk about how to use that. Now you can use steam-a-seam and steam-a-seam light, and that is what I used on the snowman, because I wanted to see if there was any difference. There really isn't a huge amount of difference, except that I think that this is harder to needle through, and where this is just a nice soft, and it doesn't gum up your needle at all. It's just a nice, I prefer soft fuse. Now, saying that, I have used, if you look at the back of these, I've just put on a cotton backing, but I have used steam-a-seam on the back of these to fuse to this piece. I've done that because I feel like it's a little bit heavier than the soft fuse, and so it gives it a little bit more stability for you to hang on your frame that you have. Let me go and get one of the frames. So like I was saying, I used steam-a-seam on the back of this because steam-a-seam just has a little bit more stability, I think, to it, to give you, so that when you're hanging these, what you're going to put magnets on the back of here of this piece, and they're going to come up here and it's going to stick on here like that. And I just think that the steam-a-seam just seems to give it a little bit more textured weight to it than the soft fuse. But I like the soft fuse when I'm doing the blanket stitch and that on these. So let's go ahead and kind of look at one of our patterns. I just kind of picked out the April kit. So what your kit will come with is it will come with your pattern, and it will come with the colors of what you're going to be using with this particular design. On the back, it will tell you exactly what you have. It'll tell you the wool that is needed. So these are the colors. It's even giving you the sizes. So I can pretty well break down everything that I need. This would be your background that you would put. It's like all of these here. Then you can look on here. It says that there's a taupe, and it's an 11 by 11, which is this. Then you have a pink, which would be this. You have a textured blue, and that textured blue is 1 by 2. So I would say that that is that. And so you're going to go through this whole thing and get your colors ready to use. So that is the pattern. In here also is your design. And what they have done, if you'll look at this, they have a sheet that is, it says reversed on it. The reverse is that's what you are going to use to trace onto your soft fuse. This one is how it's actually going to end up looking once you get all of your pieces out. I like a fusible, and I lay the fusible on top of this, and then I can just lay my pieces on here and get them all set up, and I can take a light and lightly press them all together once I have it on here. And then I just lift it off and transfer it over to my taupe piece. So that's what that is for. Always make sure, though, that when you're doing this, that you use your reverse to trace on the soft seam. And then you do have this piece, and this is the piece that you're going to use to cut out your shape once you, when you want to cut this piece out. It gives you the shape. It also is what I use to cut out my backing. So this will be in every kit. These copies will be in your kit also, and then there will be a instruction of what colors, what stitch to use in the different colors. Most of the things in these, what I have found, is blanket stitch. If you'll look here, that's the blanket stitch around here. I used back stitch here, stem stitches here. So basically that is what we are going to be doing, is the back stitch, stem stitch, and blanket. There might be a French knot. There is a French knot right here on the squirrel's nose. Let's see if there's anything else. This is a stem stitch right around here, that brown, dark brown, to make that to stand out more. So there's just a little bit of details that you're going to do. The same thing is here. There's stem stitch here, on here, and on the leaves too. Now I'm sure that most of you all know pretty well how to trace, but we're going to take one of our sheets. Let's just use this one here. And I can put this one back. Let's roll this up. There we go. So now on this roll, it will have directions. One of the things that you need to realize is when you are pressing this, you're going to use wool heat setting on your iron, but you are also going to only use, you will lay that iron on the pieces that you're fusing for about 3 seconds. You don't want to use any more. If you use more, leave it on longer, then what happens is that the glue will dissipate kind of, and it's not as sticky for you. So we're going to use this sheet, And I'm going to start tracing my pieces. Now I can look to see here, the butterfly has 3 separate pieces. So I want to make sure that I do that butterfly in those 3 separate pieces. I'm also going to make sure that I give some extra room. If you look at this, for instance, the butterfly. The body of the butterfly is laying on top of the wings. This wing here is laying on top of this wing. So wherever I have something laying on top, I want to give a little added length to that so that you have room to lay those on top and you're not just butting them up against each other. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The very first one I did, wasn't even thinking, and I picked up my friction pen and I traced all the pieces, and then I laid them out on the wools, the designated wool, and of course the heat took away the markings, so I had to start all over again and start and retrace everything. So make sure a pencil works great. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to trace, and if you look here, I'm just adding a little bit. There's the line. I'm adding, going beyond that line, and I'm adding some fabric so that I can cover. I'm just tracing it. I'm going to name that 1A. This one is going to be, and I will also put 1A on here. This will be 2B and then 3. Okay? Or we can go 1B. We'll do that. 1B, and then let's make this 2. Like that. So 1A, 1B, and 2. So now I'm going to move this down a little bit. I don't have to add anything to this edge or around here, but I do need to add some right here where the body is going to go over. So I'm just going to go and I'll extend that line, and then I will trace. Like that. And then this is going to be 1B. Then I'm going to move down. Now I don't have to do anything with 2. I'm just going to trace it as is. And I'll put a 2 there. So now there is, right here is my butterfly. So I have the 1A, which is extended on this, and you can, if you want, if it makes it easier for you to visualize it, you can go ahead and put in the actual line of where it should be. I tend not to do that because I get confused and I want to cut here instead of here. And so, but if that helps you, then go ahead and do that. Now let's go over, and I'm going to go to this right here, the leaf. So on here, I can look to see that I do need to extend from my bottom edge a little bit. So I'll extend it about like that. And then I'm going to go and I'll trace that. Making sure that when you're tracing, you're not tracing on the glued side. It's kind of rough. You'll know. Make sure you trace on the paper side. And I'm just tracing all the way around. All right, I'm going to put this as number 3 and 3. So now I'm not going to bore you with tracing this whole thing out. Go ahead and trace all of your pieces out, and then once you do that, we'll come back and we will have showing you how to put them on the wool and go from there. So we will be back in a little while. Okay, I've traced some of the pattern. I'm not going to trace it all. I can give you an idea of how to do this without doing that, and I can go back and then complete it later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut apart the pieces that I've traced. So, and I'm going to leave a little bit of the soft fuse around the pieces. So when you're tracing, make sure that you leave enough space between each piece so that you can do this. This little space gives you a room to really cut nicely your shape out. If you had cut right on the line, it's really difficult once you put this onto the fabric. It's difficult to get that cut so nice and straight. So give yourself a little leeway of the soft fuse, and where it'll make it easier for you to cut out. All right, so let's go over here. And I'm going to, if I was tracing this whole thing out, I would trace the whole thing and then I would go in here and I would cut it out. And you don't have to be real particular. I do try to not have a huge amount so that I have room for other pieces if I need be. So like this, how this is a little bit more, I would just trim that off a little bit. Same thing around here. Just give yourself a little bit of room. And we can do even in here. Okay. And let me see, why don't we do the rabbit? Now when I have bigger pieces like this right here, I'm going to save them. I don't throw a lot away with my soft fuse because I can fit little pieces in those areas. So what I do is I will just, I'll get a baggie and I will put all these little pieces in a baggie so that I can, if I have a, just a small piece, like look at this foot, how little that is. It'll fit on one of these excess pieces. So I would take these pieces and this, and I would just, in fact, I can put it right in here in this bag here. And I'll just save that for later on. That might be a good piece. And so with that. All right. So I have all these pieces that I've cut out so far, I have numbered, and then I've transposed those numbers over onto this copy here, so that I know what is what. So right now, let's see, it tells me that on your sheet, it says your brown texture, which is this right here, is what the rabbit would go on. So he's going to fit right in there, just like that. And then I'm going to press him on there. This is an ear, and so I can fit that ear right in here. And then this is another little foot that I can put right up here. Now, I'm going to be with you, and I'm just going to turn my